Welcome to Colts Law. I'm Lawrence Owen, and we begin a new series getting into the 2021 NFL Indianapolis Colts roster for the preseason. But before we get into that, I would like to take a moment and ask you, please don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell so you're notified next time I go live. Make sure you hit that turn on all notifications so that you are notified when I go live. Also, don't forget, check out my merch shop. Direct link is in the description below. Make sure to check out the Colts Law merch shop. The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from. And all you got to do is just click one button and you can go and check out all these great merchandise items. Now, don't forget also, I have a Patreon. You can go check that out as well in the link below in the description. And it's only $5 a month. Pretty simple. And all of my content is uploaded directly to Patreon, whether it's here, on other channels, different podcasts, and of course there's also Patreon-specific stuff that I put out specifically for you, those of you that actually, are patrons and spend the money and want that extra content. Thank you so much. Now, let's get into the Indianapolis Colts roster for the 2021 season as we enter the preseason, right? And today's episode, we are going to go over position safety. Now, that includes free safety. That includes strong safety for the Indianapolis Colts. And to be fair, I feel like this is one of the weaker positions, even though I have very good confidence in the starters and even one of the backups, right? But I still feel as though with safety being one of those positions, the injuries happen a lot in the NFL, especially with the Indianapolis Colts. It has me a little bit worried. But let's dive into it right away because, as we all know, the Indianapolis Colts have two pretty good starting safeties back there. Now, to start off that list, the Indianapolis Colts have Julian Blackmon at free safety. This will be his second year in the NFL. Last year, the Colts selected him even though he had an injury coming into the NFL, from Utah. The Indianapolis Colts went ahead and signed him anyhow, even though we had Malik Hooker. But Malik Hooker was injury prone as well. And it's a good thing that the Colts selected Julian Blackmon because, well, Hooker went down, right? Again. It sucks. It happens. But Julian Blackmon came in hard and strong into the NFL and played solid. He's got great range, gets for a free safety. He hits hard. He knows how to shed blocks. Now, there are a few things I think he could work on with his game, but then again, this being only his second year in the NFL, I believe he'll do just fine, working on a lot of those deficiencies that he had that crept up a little bit in the second half of the 2020 season. So I am perfectly okay with Julian Blackmon as the starter at free safety for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the other starter at safety is the strong safety, Khari Willis, who is entering his third season for the Indianapolis Colts. Safety out of Michigan State. Hard hitter. Has gotten better. Last year showed improvement in coverage skills. He was what many thought to be a thumper, right? He's that guy that will come down into the box and just light running backs up. He's that box safety. I have no problem with Khari Willis because he actually, like I said, he showed a lot of improvement last year in his coverage skills, which helps out a lot for the Indianapolis Colts. That means, as we saw, Julian Blackmon, Khari Willis, they interchange quite a bit between free safety and strong safety because their skill sets somewhat overlap because they're getting better, both guys, as an all-around safety. So I am perfectly okay with the Indianapolis Colts starting safeties currently. Now, the problem is, where do we go from here? What if one of these guys need a break? What if one of them gets injured? Who's coming in for him? Now, the number one backup, in my opinion, behind Khari Willis and behind Julian Blackmon would be the free agent the Indianapolis signed this offseason out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Sean Davis. Now, Sean Davis, he's a 5-year vet. He's played in many games, started many games. Now, last year he lost his starting role. That's why he's no longer part of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But he's played well. He's had 5 interceptions over his career. Now, granted, last year he only started 1 game, so he didn't have any picks. But his best season was in 2017, where he had 3 interceptions, a forced fumble, 8 passes defensed. He is a guy I believe could do a very good job coming in for Julian Blackmon when he needs a break. I think he'd make an excellent free safety. Now, he's played both positions, strong and free, so he could legitimately do both. But the problem is, I think the Indianapolis Colts have a better options at strong safety because generally they like their strong safeties to come up, help in the run game, right? And in my opinion, that comes down to guys like Roland Milligan, who the Indianapolis Colts just selected not too long ago. You know, I mean, he's only been in the NFL a year or so as well. As a matter of fact, this is his 2nd year in the NFL, if I remember correctly. And he only started 1 game last year, and that was obviously due to injury. Played in 11 games and had 15 tackles. Is he a guy I want as a primary backup? No. But I do believe that he's shown enough skill to be able to perform back there if needed. Now, Roland, I believe, is more of a special teamer, like George Odom, the safety out of Central Arkansas, if I remember correctly. Yeah. You know, this is his 4th year, 27 years old. And, again, a guy who could come in a pinch if you need him to play, but not someone that you want to have out there playing significant snaps at either safety position. That's not to say that he is not a very important player on the Indianapolis Colts. George Odom is an all-pro gunner on special teams. He just got his all-pro status last season, and he's just an excellent player. One of those guys that can cover the football, go out there and tackle on punts. I watched many times where George Odom on punts would go down there and down the ball inside the 5, right at the goal line at times, right? So Odom is a very special player for the Indianapolis Colts, but he's not someone that you want to see playing significant snaps, again, you know, on the field at the safety position. Now, the Indianapolis Colts also have Abram Campbell, who, we'll call him a journeyman at safety, okay? I think that's the best way to put it. He has been in the NFL for 6 seasons. I think we're going into the 7th season. And he has played for like 12 teams. Okay? Now in 2015, 2016, he played for Cleveland. And then in 2017, he played for Cleveland and Houston. 2018, he played for Dallas, Green Bay, and the Jets. Then in 2019, he played for Green Bay. And then, of course, last year, he had 5 games which he showed up for the Indianapolis Colts. Again, not someone, not someone that you want out there on the field. He's a special teamer. That's what he's here for. That's what he's there to do. He's very good at being a special teamer. He's had some forced fumbles that he's caused. He has had some passes defensed. He's recovered a couple fumbles in his career. He's even got some tackles for loss. But he's not a premier safety. He's not one of those guys that you want out there just, as a stud. I don't know if he makes the team this year, because special teams is so important. And we've got some good special teamers on the Indianapolis Colts. Now, another safety that we have is Nick Nelson. Now, last 2 seasons he's played for the Oakland Raiders, and he started 3 games his rookie year. He only played 2 games last year, though. Didn't really do anything in them. No tackles, no nothing. I don't really know a whole lot about Nick Nelson, to be fair. So I can't really give you a really good in-depth description of him. But I do believe that Nick Nelson is another one of those guys that'll be vying for a special teams position. And then we come up on Sean Davis. No, not the Sean Davis that I just talked about, right, from the Pittsburgh Steelers. No. I'm talking about the rookie out of Florida, Sean Davis. 5'11", 199 pounds, right? He'll be wearing 31, whereas the Sean Davis that I talked about earlier from the Steelers will be wearing 29. The Sean Davis out of Florida, the rookie, the single rookie that we have, he is a guy I believe is going to get the most snaps this year, not only playing special teams because he's a runner and a thumper, but I do believe he is a guy that could come in on special situations in regular gameplay on defense. When you have big formations or a lot of tight ends and you're expecting a run. I think Sean is a guy that I believe, even though he's not going to get a lot of play time, covering players at the safety position, he could come in as that box safety, thumping safety that the Indianapolis Colts really like to use a lot. That they thought Khari Willis was kind of pegged into being, and then Khari started getting a lot better at coverage as well. So I believe Sean Davis is one of those guys that can actually come in and be a third safety on the field if needed. Because the Indianapolis Colts, let's face it, the Indianapolis Colts don't go into their base very often, their base defense very often with 3 linebackers. They generally have 2 linebackers on the field, and while they're healthy, it's going to be Bobby Okereke and Darius Leonard. Now, they could still have a kind of nickel formation, take one of the cornerbacks out, bring in Sean Davis when they believe it could be a run play, like a 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1 or something of that nature. So I do believe that Sean will get some playtime this year. Maybe not a lot, because obviously I believe the Indianapolis Colts safety position, starting positions, are locked down. But that is what it is. So that's my thought process. If I had to rank the Indianapolis Colts safety position from 1 to 10, 1 being absolute worst in the NFL, 10 being as good as it possibly can be, I would give it 6, maybe 7. Somewhere around 6.5 probably. I do have faith, like I said, in both our starters. But once the starters get hurt, then you start to have a little bit of worry about who's playing where. Sean Davis, believe it or not, both Sean Davises, I believe, are the primary backups. So you could legitimately, if something happens, God forbid, right? If something happens to both starting safeties, you could see both Sean Davises on the field at the same time. Not something that I would want to see, but it could happen. Let me know what you think of the safety position for the Indianapolis Colts down in the comments. And if you are a fan of a different team just coming in to join, welcome. Why don't you give me your thoughts and comments about your safety position for your favorite team in the comments. Don't forget, smash that like button and hit that notification bell. Really appreciate it. It'd help out a lot. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law, and I want you to have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.